I am going to take you step by step through how I want you to approach this assessment critique. There are two main steps. One is the critique of whether or not the goals match up with the materials that you have. And then the second part is to see whether the goals are good or not, how they map onto the assessment. So we're going to start by looking at the goals, and I will tell you the level of cognition that is intended. Otherwise, it gets too complicated and too ambiguous. I have too many correct possible answers. And you look through these, and I have one where they're defining terms, describing the significance of a place, evaluating moral actions, and analyzing different levels of society. Now, first we are going to basically do a content validity analysis, where we compare these goals with the materials that you've been given. Now, in this case, we're going to look at the terms of Goal 1, and we're going to see whether or not all these terms should be in there, or if there are any terms that are missing. So if we look at missing, for instance, in Goal 1, I have mission, missionary, convert, ally, society, and plantation. When I look in my Lesson 3 materials for social studies, I find that encomienda is a major term that is bolded on the first page. And I also find that convert and ally are not part of Lesson 3, actually. Convert and ally are parts of Lesson 2. I move on then to Goal 2, and I notice that I'm just talking about a particular place. Well, that's the only place that's highlighted on the first page. And there are no places missing, so I'm okay here and I'm okay here. You don't even have to write okay, you can just leave it blank. Some people like to write okay because it reminds them that they didn't miss anything. For number 3, I have people of significance. And I know that Pizarro was actually somebody who was extra from Lesson 2. And I also know that 2 people are missing from Lesson 3, Esteban and De las Casas. They are both significant figures who are mentioned, but they are not represented in my goals, so I have a content mismatch. If I look at goal number 4, analyzing different levels of society in New Spain, I find that that's okay. There are 4 that are mentioned. I don't go into detail, so we're just going to assume that those are the 4 that I mean. Now, once I'm done with that, I look at the levels of cognition for each goal. And what I really want within a lesson is maybe a level 2, maybe 2 level 2s, and 2 level 1 basic recall. At the tops, I would have 1 level 3, 1 level 2, and 2 level 1s. That's as complicated as it could possibly be for me to have realistic expectations that my students will meet this. So what I want you to say here is that in this case, the levels of cognition are too high. Conversely, if these were all level 1 goals, you would tell me that the levels of cognition are too low. If it was a nice balance of 2s and 1s, you'd say levels of cognition are appropriate. So that's the first part. The second part is filling out these grids, where I compared the assessment here to the goals here. And so I go through each particular item, and I look to see whether or not it's good in terms of whether the content matches up and whether the level of cognition matches up. So this stands right here for level of cognition. If I look at item number 1, a friend who will help you in a fight, that's ally. It's in the goals, so that content is okay. If it's in the goals, it should be on the test because maybe you had a reason, maybe you didn't get to it last time. We're just going to assume that you had a reason. So we're going to say that it's okay here. Just put a check there. And then I ask myself, I have a level 2 goal. Is this a level 2 comprehension or application type item? In fact, it is not, because this is exactly how it is defined in the book, so I would put in wrong. I go on to the next one, someone who teaches their religion. That'd be a missionary. That's in the goals. Content is okay. But again, because that's how it's defined in the text, that is not the correct level of cognition, so it is wrong. In fact, as I go through each one of these, I find that, right, when I'm looking at the goals, well, mission, that's in there. Convert, that's in there. Plantation, that's in there. All the content is okay, but they are all recall level items, so that's not okay. I go on to item number 6, DeSoto. Look to see if he's in the goals. Well, not in goals. And then really the level of cognition is completely inappropriate. You can leave that blank or just put a little dash in it if you'd like.